thousands of murders go unsolved each year in the United States. In 2019 alone, out of 15,449 murders, nearly 6,544 of these cases were left unsolved by authorities. Now, let's dive into one of the most unsettling unsolved murder cases that could have perhaps been prevented. The murderer of Dorothy Jane Scott had made it known that he was planning on horrifically killing her. Dorothy was a single mother living in Stanton, California, with her aunt and 4-year-old son. She was 32 years old and a secretary for 2 jointly owned Anaheim stores. Co-workers and friends all shared that she was a homebody, a devoted Christian, and didn't drink or do drugs. Her parents, who lived in Anaheim, babysat their grandson while she was away at work. Scott's father, Jacob, said his daughter may have dated on occasion but had no steady boyfriend, as far as the family was aware. Months before her abduction, Scott had been receiving eerie phone calls at work from an unknown man. The caller confessed his love for her and his plan to murder her. One day he called and said to go outside because he had something for her. She went out, and there was a single dead red rose on the windshield of her car. Scott's mother said one call especially terrified her daughter. The man told Scott he would get her alone and cut her up into bits so no one would ever find her. Due to the threatening calls, Dorothy Jane Scott considered the purchase of a handgun and began taking karate lessons. At 9 p.m. on May 28, 1980, Dorothy Scott was at an employee meeting at work when she noticed her co-worker, Conrad Bostron, looking unwell. Scott and another co-worker, Pam Head, took Bostron to the emergency room at UC Irvine Medical Center and determined he had suffered a black widow spider bite. After being released around 11 p.m., Dorothy offered to bring her car to the exit as it was clear he was still suffering from the spider bite. Head said Dorothy used the restroom shortly before heading out to the parking lot while Pam Head and Conrad Bostron filled his prescription. While waiting at the exit for a few minutes, the 2 co-workers went out to the parking lot to look for Dorothy Scott. All of a sudden, they noticed Scott's car racing toward them. As it passed them and took a sharp turn out of the parking lot, they claimed not to have been able to notice who was at the wheel due to the blinding headlights. At first, Pam and Bostron believed Scott's son had an emergency. Yet, after hours of not hearing back from her, the 2 reported Scott missing. At almost 4:30 a.m. on May 29th, a passerby found Dorothy's car burning in an alley about 10 miles from the hospital. Neither she nor her kidnapper was anywhere nearby. Almost a week after Scott's disappearance, her parents began receiving unnerving calls from who they believed was her stalker and killer. In the first call, the anonymous caller said, "I have her," before abruptly hanging up. The disturbing caller would mostly call when Scott's mother was home alone. The phone calls were never long enough in duration for authorities to ever track a location. And once Scott's father began picking up the telephone, the caller stopped harassing the family. But this wouldn't be the end. An unidentified man called the front desk at the Orange County Register and released Dorothy Scott's missing story. A managing editor for the newspaper shared with the police that the man said that she was his love. And since she cheated, he killed her. The editor also revealed that the caller knew Conrad had suffered from a spider bite, which was never detailed in the published story. Authorities believe that this caller was the same one harassing the family, also killed Dorothy Jane Scott. 4 years later, on August 6, 1984, a construction worker discovered partially burned human bones about 30 feet from Santa Ana Canyon Road after a bushfire had swept over the area in 1982. Also found was a turquoise ring and watch. Scott's mother said the watch had stopped at 12:30 a.m. on May 29th, about an hour after Pam Head and Conrad Bostron last saw Scott's vehicle. On August 14th, dental records were able to identify the remains as Scott's. The autopsy could not ascertain the cause of her death, and to this day, still remains an unsolved mystery. If you know any other unsolved mysteries, I would love to hear from you in the comments below.
Please click the subscribe button so you can keep up to date with my channel. Thanks for watching and take care.